And showtime. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup. A look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network, also a co-host of this program. I am joined this week, as I am every week, by your other co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement advisor to MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how goes it?
It's going great here in California, Rich. In fact, I know that you've had some travel this week. I did something that I haven't done in since before the pandemic started. Last night, I took my youngest son to the movies for the first time in since the maybe January of 2020. And you know how you can choose your theater seats now? So I was very strategic in making sure that when we went, there would be no one sitting to the left or the right of us. And we went masked up, but we had popcorn and a soda and some candy. And we watched a movie in IMAX. And I can't tell you how cool that felt, just having a little bit of that, reminder of how things used to be. How are you doing?
I am doing quite well. You're absolutely right in terms of travel. In fact, people who are watching the video version of this podcast, the webcast version, if you will, right now, can probably tell by the background and the poor Wi-Fi and poor image quality as a result that I'm in a hotel room right now. So, yeah, I was at a conference in New Jersey earlier this week, staged by IT by Design, and then I was at Channel Pro's own latest SMB Forum event in Boston. I'm still in Boston right now.
Yeah, so that's a little bit different for you as well, then.
Getting
from
back
from
into the swing of things, I think that I know, in fact, there's going to be a lot more travel coming up between now and sort of mid-November, assuming these events don't get canceled. So yeah, we're getting back into that old on the road kind of rhythm.
Yeah, I do miss it a little bit.
Well, let's jump into our top story of the week here, and it actually comes from IT by Design. It was announced during IT by Design's show this week, which was officially known as Build It Live, it as in capital I, capital T. They have launched a new product. It is called Team GPS. They are calling it a business operating system. Basically, it's designed to be a platform to manage all the sort of technical aspects of being an MSP. If you're somebody whose technical skills are more extensive than your management, your business, your leadership experience, this tool is supposed to or intended to provide you with functionality that you can use to do things like measure customer satisfaction, measure and enhance employee engagement, track progress against goals among your employees and conduct performance reviews, formulate and track progress against business strategy, et cetera. So it's all about the non-technical aspects of running a successful managed services practice. And a lot of it comes down to people-related skills and activities, you'll notice, and there are a few reasons for that. First of all, and this was a point that the IT by Design folks emphasized during the conference this week, at this point in time, there is enormous demand for IT talent and very little supply. In fact, we've talked on the podcast about the fact that according to CompTIA, unemployment in the tech sector is at a 2-year low. Hours ago, as we record this, CompTIA published some more data showing that tech hiring last month was at a 2-year high. So that gap between hiring between supply and demand and IT talent right now is very, very wide at this particular moment. And it means that at any given time, your most valuable technical employees are very much at risk of being stolen away by somebody else. So you really want to be good at managing those people, rewarding and recognizing those people. There's a module in this Team GPS system for rewarding and recognizing your employees. Another thing is IT by Design, they started out as an MSP. They became a source of or a provider of outsourced knock and help desk services, a source of provisional tech talent. They're really all about people. And more recently, they've been kind of getting into the business of sharing all the expertise they've accumulated through the years in finding people, retaining people, growing your employees through products like their Build It University, a training platform that they released last year. Now this Team GPS product. So people is really much at the roots of what IT by Design is about. And then the leaders, the founders of that company really have a passionately held belief that if you are an MSP, people rather than technology is what your business is about. Unless you have intellectual property, some sort of software or something like that you've developed, what you're selling is services, and your services are only as good as your people. So essentially what you're selling is what your people do, which means you have to be really good, again, at finding, retaining, and growing people. So there's a lot of that in this tool. Some of it, the customer satisfaction module of that tool is available now. The other ones that I talked about are going to be rolling out either later this year or next year. And I think it's a sign, Eric, that this is where IT by Design is going more and more. They're kind of getting into the business of sharing what they've learned about people management with other MSPs.
Yeah, and I love that focus. As you know, Rich, and maybe some of our viewers and listeners know, I mean, I'm passionate about that. I mean, I've devoted my career to helping other IT providers and MSPs. So I love that they're taking what I call the toughest P, letter P, I should say, of the four P's that I focus on when I coach and consult with MSPs and IT providers as well. It's people, platforms, processes, and products and services. And I say, guess which one of those four is the toughest to address and improve on is that people part. So I love that they're prioritizing the people or the talent portion of the business, because they're right. At the end of the day, the folks that we help put teams together and empower and coach and lead, they're the differentiator of value and how we're perceived by prospects and clients, right? So I love where they're going with that. I mean, I think that'll help partners get a bead on maybe things that they weren't tracking or thinking about, and give them a framework on how to improve that and create that succession strategy that's so critical for retention, but also for attracting new talent along the way.
Well, Eric, as long as we're talking about P's here, let's dive into your tip of the week, because it concerns another important P.
Yes, it's and this P, the word is perfect or perfection. So the tip of the week, Rich, is everybody stop trying to be perfect. Stop trying to be perfect. And folks might be thinking, well, Eric, what do you mean? I mean, isn't that how we define ourselves? And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no, because a lot of us have probably heard that perfect is the enemy of good, and I say even excellent, right? And again, this comes from recent experience consulting with a large MSP organization where, we've been stalled in trying to get past a couple of just some basic strategies, bundling and pricing and things like that. And this is just a small example, because I think this happens in a lot of organizations where we shoot for perfection and we very rarely ever achieve it. We can get to good or excellent pretty quickly. From 0 to 100, we can get there at about 80, and we can execute a strategy or go to market with something in a relatively short period of time. But that last 20%, seeking that perfection, sometimes never gets achieved, and sometimes it stalls innovation. Sometimes it erodes the excitement and the motivation of a team when we kind of get caught up in these fits and starts and things like that. So the tip of the week is really to evaluate what you have, and if you can get it to 80%, then I think that's good enough to go to market with or to execute a strategy, and then tweak and tune along the way. Don't allow the search for perfection to stall you from growing your business, introducing new products and services, introducing new processes, right? Trying to get that process just perfect before we go live with it. It's okay. It's okay. Now, of course, there are outliers. So, folks in the comments, just understand there's always outliers, right? And there's always, something that may cause us to color outside the box. Well, you know what? If we're developing a vaccine, yeah, it better be near perfect, right? 80% typically is not going to get us there. But I hope everyone understands my tip of the week and guidance this week.
And I think it's going to be familiar to anyone in the audience here who has any experience whatsoever with software development, right? Because if you are waiting for the product to be perfect, you will never release it. What you have to learn is you come up with good enough to ship, and then you continuously improve. And that's why there are, versions with software products. And it's the same thing with business processes. That's really what you're talking about here. If you are waiting for perfect, you are never going to get anything done. Get it to a point where it's going to make an impact, it's going to make a difference, and then just understand that you're going to be improving continually over time.
Well, and a great example was our feature story today, right? Team GPS by IT by Design. They're not waiting until they have all the features built to deliver it and offer it to partners. They're getting the first module ready, and they're going to make it available to partners, and then they're going to add and build on it as they go. So that's a great example of saying, look, we're not, we're going to build on it, and we're going to take feedback, and we're going to tweak and tune, and we're going to continually improve. So, a great example.
All right. Well, that leaves us with time for just one more story this week. And Eric, it comes to us from, what is this city? Mosinee, Wisconsin. Mosinee, Wisconsin, where somebody was pulling into the drive-through at a McDonald's, just kind of idly looking ahead, a few cars down the line, noticed what appeared to be a life-size replica of a cow in the backseat of a Buick. Until the cow moved and the driver realized that's not a replica of a cow, it's an actual cow in the backseat of a Buick online at the drive-through at a McDonald's. Now, we could stop right there, Eric, and point out it's pretty odd and a little bit funny to have a cow in the backseat of a Buick driving around in the city. But this particular driver took the cow to the drive-through at a McDonald's. I mean, it's a little bit like bringing your chicken to the KFC. I mean, it's almost like you're delivering a warning to the animal of some kind. I want a little more milk, a few more eggs, or this is what could happen to you. It strikes me, Eric, as a little cruel to bring a cow to the drive-through at McDonald's.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. But on the other hand, you got to appreciate that it was probably a moober ride for the cow.
I just want to point out for the audience here, I neglected to tell Eric in advance what this story was going to be about this week, so he had no time to prepare that. That was on the spot right there, which is just very, very impressive.
I get one in once in a while.
And that is all the time we've got this week, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be back again next week with another episode for you. If you are watching the video right now, you may not know that we are also a podcast available to you on Stitcher and Spotify and Google and Apple and all the places people get podcasts. Search us there. Please become a subscriber. Give us that 5-star rating, because it really will help make the show easier for other people to discover. If you are listening to the podcast and want to watch us on video, go to YouTube, look for the ChannelPro Network channel there. You can subscribe to the program there as well. If you click the little bell icon, you'll even get notified when the new episodes go up. If you want to read more about the Team GPS solution from IT by Design, more about what's happening in the industry, get terrific business growth advice for your company, go to ChannelProNetwork.com. Every day there's great new content for you there every day. And if you want to learn more about Eric and the work he does with his clients, please visit ErickSimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. So once again, we thank you for joining us. We're going to see you again in a week. Until then, folks, please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.